Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the New Mutants. Before we begin, let me know in the comments if you were looking forward to this or what your thoughts were if you've seen it already, and make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews. It helps me out immensely if you do that. Also, if you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. But now, let's jump right into it. This story takes place inside a hospital where 5 young mutants are being held as patients. After each of them suffered a tragedy, they must now learn to gain control of their powers before they can be released. However, when strange phenomena occurs around them, they begin to question the circumstances of their stay. Even though this is technically the final X-Men movie, that distinction was originally meant to go to Dark Phoenix. It's well known by this point that the movie has gone through numerous delays. It was originally supposed to be released in April 2018 and was then pushed back 4 times, finally getting released at the end of August of this year. It even became something of a joke when a trailer was shown at Comic-Con, and when it showed the release date, there was a note saying, "Fingers crossed." It's written and directed by Josh Boone, who also directed The Fault in Our Stars, and if you weren't aware of that going into this, it's kind of obvious once you watch it. It's a superhero movie that also heavily mixes in elements of both horror and young adult drama. I specifically felt like I was watching a cross between The Fault in Our Stars and the M. Night Shyamalan movie Glass, except if it was set in the X-Men universe. The hospital setting with superhero patients, as well as the dubious intentions of the Doctor, here played by Alice Braga, parallel some of the plot elements of Glass. But this film will also show us extensively the romance that goes on among the younger mutants. They'll repeatedly attempt to sneak out of their rooms after hours or even subdue the Doctor, and we'll see them hanging out late, take romantic strolls, and have little bonding moments. And that's all before one of them will suffer severe hallucinations featuring horrifying imagery. Tonally, it's a bit all over the place, but honestly, I don't hate this movie. It's actually fine for what it is. While it's not this epic grand finale to the X-Men franchise as one would hope for, which to be fair, similar to Dark Phoenix, neither of those movies were filmed with the intention of being a finale since it was before the Disney acquisition of Fox, but at the very least, it's a better note for the franchise to go out on, even if it's focused on an entirely new set of characters. The performances are easily the movie's strongest aspects. I thought they all had great chemistry with one another. Newcomer Blue Hunt plays Danny and is our main character as she's newest to the hospital, and we follow her a little bit right before she arrives there. The other 4 mutants are played by Maisie Williams, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Heaton, and Henry Zaga. And all of them were very good. We mainly see Hunt interact with Williams, who plays a character named Rain, who becomes her closest friend there, and she also deals a lot with Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Ilana Rasputin, who in the comics is Colossus's sister, though I don't think that's explicitly mentioned here. But Ilana is the most antagonistic towards Danny, especially as she tries figuring out what Danny's powers are, as she's not even sure herself, and she becomes suspicious of her. And while I enjoyed all these interactions, I will admit, some of them try doing these accents, like Maisie Williams does a Scottish accent while Anya Taylor-Joy does a Russian accent, and I didn't totally buy them. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to do, but they very noticeably slip in and out of their accents, and you'll hear their real voices come out a few times. It just took me out of the moment in some scenes. But all the actors did a great job, and were a big reason why the movie was actually not all that bad. I'd say this handled the horror aspect the best. It's shot very well, and it matches the overall grim tone of the film. It has a dark color palette, though not to the point that you couldn't see anything, and some of the imagery is actually kind of frightening, so I do commend Boone on committing to going full-on horror here. I know they played up the horror element a fair amount in the trailer, but I was afraid it wasn't going to be as big as they made it out to be, because it's still an X-Men movie. That being said, I'm not exactly saying it's a great entry in the franchise. At the time of this review, it's already been over a month since it's out, and if you've seen it by now, great, but if you haven't, it's nothing I'd say you need to go out of your way to see. Like I said, it's a fairly grim, very serious sort of movie. And while it does have a little bit of a sense of humor, it's not as prominent as it was in some of the other X-Men movies. Even Logan had more moments of levity than this, and that was a huge downer at some points. So while there is a good sense of tension and some great emotional moments, this isn't exactly the most joyous entry in the franchise. And while the interactions among all the younger mutants are good, parts of the plot are very predictable. I mean, as far as things go with the Doctor and the hospital itself, you can kind of see all that coming from a mile away. Alice Braga does a decent job here, but they treat her role in the film as some big mystery, and I'd be shocked if you didn't know what was going on. And also, as I mentioned, it can be a bit of a tonal mess. The horror aspect worked, and the teen drama stuff was also okay, though it would abruptly shift gears and it comes off as a bit jarring. And without spoiling anything, it also has an incredibly cheesy third act. While most of the movie is very watchable, the last 20 minutes or so just had me rolling my eyes repeatedly. It tries to do both the horror and teen drama at the same time, and it really just doesn't work. I almost laughed at one point. Overall, is this a better way for the Fox X-Men movies to end than Dark Phoenix? Yes. Is it great? No. But it's still a somewhat enjoyable time. It has great performances by its cast, and it does have individual moments that worked well, especially when it acts more as a horror movie, but it's also predictable and tonally jumbled, and it wasn't exactly a great payoff for all the delays. When it comes to Disney Plus or Hulu, whichever one they decide to release it on, it's worth maybe checking out once, but if you end up never seeing it, you're not missing much. The New Mutants gets a 6 out of 10. And that's that. I've now reviewed all the X-Men movies. Last thing to do before putting this series to rest is my ranking of all the films from worst to best. Stay tuned for that video, along with more 2020 reviews coming soon. So let me know, did you see the New Mutants, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you think it was worth the wait? Was it a fitting end to the franchise, and would you want to see these characters return in some form for the MCU? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.